Hey YouTube, I want to tell you a little story of something that's going on right now. I've got to ask all of y'all a question. Anybody out there who knows a bit more about anatomy, physiology, and biology than I do, and maybe you're a bit more into the medical field. But I will preface this with a little story, and this is how I discovered this. We get our water from a well out here. It's a pretty deep well. It's down into the aquifer. It's not like the first or second water sand. I think that thing's like 700 something feet. Anyway, we've been drinking water out of that for a while. Well, about maybe 2 months ago, you guys know when I started coughing and wheezing and all this, and I had that sickness, whatever it was. Couldn't get rid of it. One of the things that sickness was doing is your throat would be constantly dry. You'd have to drink fluids, you know. Well, we slowly got better, but the dry throat, you know, the whole back of your throat closes up and you can barely breathe at night. You have to get up and you have to go get some water. Well, so we would just get water, and I thought that the thirst that was occurring from that was from the sickness. But we got over it. I still cough a little bit. I'm still a little croupy down here, but we got over it. And the way I discovered this, what I think is going on, is we had a line bust on that well out there, so we put a new line in. Actually, before we could, we had to get a hose to feed the house, and made sure I got a drinking water safe one. I'm not a dummy. I didn't go out and just get any old garden hose from China. But the water tasted terrible coming out of that thing. Even though it was a drinking water safe hose, it still tasted like old plastic, you know. So I went and I got a Brita filter. I got, you know, with the pitcher that you put the water in. And sure enough, it did remove that water hose taste, you know, out of that RV hose. And we had been drinking and drinking before that, you know, and it was weird because you drank water, and within 10-15 minutes you were thirsty. You wanted some more. So you drink some more. And then within a little bit you'd be real thirsty again. You'd want some more, you know. And I thought it was the sickness. Whatever sickness we had caused some kind of higher demand for fluids. But I noticed something now. We've had that filter. We've been using that filter pitcher. Even though everything is fixed now, we continue to use the pitcher. Because we paid for it. We paid like 20 something bucks for the pitcher with a filter, and then another filter was another like 10-15 bucks. So, hell, we paid for it. We're going to use it. But here's the thing I noticed. Since we've started drinking water filtered through that pitcher, we're not as thirsty all the time. After about 7 days of that, I don't even think about going back for another glass of water, you know. I don't have that 10 or 15 minutes later, can barely breathe through my throat and wanting water, you know, just this horrible thirst. Now, I know there's no sodium or salt of high levels in that water. It's just, it's you know, there's no salts in it to that level that it would do that. So my question is, now that we're using this filter and that crazy insatiable thirst has gone away, what in well water can cause that? Because I think it's something coming up from the well. It's just amazing that we get this filter and it stops. And I know that the filter removes, let's see, it removes copper, it removes zinc, it removes chlorine. There's a number of other things it removes. It's not really supposed to get rid of that hose taste, but it does. So I believe that filter's doing it's doing better than what they rated at, you know, as far as the job it's doing. But there is something in that water, I think, that it is removing that was causing us this problem. And I should have noticed this because our dog is like crazy for water. I should have noticed this a while back. So I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to start giving the dog water through the filter instead of straight out of the tap. And I'm going to see if the dog's craving for water goes down. Because that dog will sit there. You could put a little bowl of water down. It'll drink it. You could put a 5-gallon bucket of water down. That dog will drink that whole thing, puke a few times, and just keep on coming back for more. And that dog didn't used to be that way. And I think it wasn't until we actually moved here, now that I think about it, that dog started getting an insatiable thirst for water. And here, this whole thing being thirsty, probably about 2, 3, 4 months ago. Well, not even that far back for us. We were only sick last month and maybe the month before, and this cough took forever to get over. But the whole while we had the dry mouth and the dry throat. Like, you would wake up, man, and your mouth would literally, and your throat would literally, you'd be gagging, and your tongue would be stuck to your mouth, and your mouth would be stuck shut. It's like all the moisture in your body gone, man. You'd have to get up and go quench your thirst, man, and drink and just blah, 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 you know. And I hadn't really thought about it until all of this stuff happened with the well. I had to fix that line, and we got that filter. But since we got that filter, I've noticed that the insatiable throat dryness, or as I say, the unquenchable thirst is subsiding now. Now, I know there are certain poisonous substances that will cause, and this is what I'm worried about, naturally occurring substances in the ground. I think arsenic will do it, and some other poisons will do it. They will make you insatiably thirsty. But as like I said, since we got that filter, and all we drink is through that filter, that has subsided. So I'm going to go get a thing called a Safe Water test kit that tests for the 10 most common things that you can find in well water. But I'm seriously thinking, regardless of whether that test passes or not, I'm seriously thinking about forking out the money and getting a reverse osmosis filtering system to remove everything but H2O. Supposedly those things will even strip viruses out of the water, so anything that's not, anything's not much bigger than the water molecule itself. It's a big cash outlay, but your health, I think, is worth it, But if anybody knows any clue to this, man, if you know anything about it, what it might be, any suggestion, at least then I'll know what to test for. Maybe something outside of the parameters of that test kit, So, in either case, we're going to run the test kit. If we see anything that shows up weird, we're going to go ahead to the county extension and have them more extensively test it. Excuse me, a little reflux. Coffee a little strong today. And making coffee, making ice, everything comes through that filter that is taken into our bodies as far as water goes, or is made from water. So, at the very least, I'm going to get a decent filter that'll go on the faucet, that will attach to the faucet for the beginning until I can, but I am seriously thinking about buying a reverse osmosis unit. It's going to kick me in the teeth for a month to buy it, because they can be expensive. You get a good one, they cost a little. I was looking at some on Amazon, but the big thing about those, they got one called APEC. They got another one, I forget who makes it. But I thought, buying on Amazon, okay, you get the unit. There's some weird off-brand. Where the heck do you get the cartridges if you can't find them there, So I finally settled on one. There's one that Lowe's sells out here for right at $200. It's a 4-stage RO filter. It has the remineralization thing on the end of it. But anyway, gonna get that, I think. That's gonna be the way it goes. It's one of the things I've heard about reverse osmosis. You can almost take water from a pond, run it through that, and have pure drinking water. So it's either that or I'm gonna get a distiller, water distiller, and just do distillation. But I'm really to the point I don't trust my water because of the results I've gotten just by accident with that filter. You know, the good results. And even with the line fixed, the taste of the water is good now too. I mean, it's drinkable again. It kind of, I don't know how to explain it. But I will be taking water and sampling it and testing it. But if you guys know what it could be, what can exist in water that when you drink it, it's like when you drink sodas. You know, when you drink too many sodas, it doesn't quench your thirst. You're still thirsty a little while after you drink it. The water is the same way. It was getting, I believe that's what's going on. You know, we drink some and then 10 minutes later you'd be thirsty again. And I'm kind of leaning on the possibility that it might be mercury. It could be mercury or possibly copper. Don't know. Both of those are hard on your kidneys. And they also do other things to you. They do bad things to the organs of your body. Copper in enough amounts is very poisonous, and everybody knows mercury is poisonous as hell. So I'll let y'all go. Gonna upload this. Please comment if you know anything that this might be. At least it would be a starting point for me to look. I mean, I am gonna test for the common stuff, but if somebody has an idea what it might be, it would be a lead that I could follow. You know, testing the water quality. Otherwise, it's going to be filters and bottled water from this point on. Take care, y'all.